Welcome back, everybody. Hello
What's
to the
up?
CHG podcast. My name is RJ. That's David over there. Casual Hardcore Gamers Gaming Podcast. We're gonna get right into the fucking shit of things here.
Big
Okay.
news.
So, some of you guys may have heard. Some of you guys may have heard
If
through the
you're
grapevine.
alive,
If you have a pulse and you even have a thread in the entertainment industry,
or just
Microsoft,
anything.
fucking Microsoft, as of yesterday, has not officially, but basically acquired Activision.
Yeah,
Activision
without the
Blizzard.
legal part of it.
So
Acquired.
yeah, so the deal is set to be finalized in what I don't know whose fiscal year 2023, but fiscal year 2023, which begins July or June this year, and then either July or June or July of 2023.
Jaloon.
So within that 12-month period is when expected to finalize sometime in then. But I imagine in the months beforehand, from here and then, I'm sure there'll be a bunch of talks, bunch of figuring out, bunch of this and that to go on.
Yep.
However, but this is official. I mean, you could at the very least you can call it a bid. They put in like a bid to buy.
It's like when you buy a house, like you've done everything, you've made the sale, it's an agreement. You just got to go through the process of signing the documents and making sure that the check clears.
For people who own a house, you know what he's talking about. I don't, so I'll just take your word for it. Anyways, yeah, this is insane. It was a little bit shy of $70 billion, which is not just the biggest acquisition in gaming, but one of the biggest acquisitions in just entertainment.
Yeah,
period.
Entertainment history. Yeah.
Period. It eclipsed.
The crazy thing is it's close to, I can't remember the exact numbers. I think that this one's a little bit higher, but it's close to fucking Disney getting Star Wars and Marvel. When they bought Star Wars and Marvel, I think it's only a couple of billion, of course, a billion, but it's like just a little bit bigger, which is insane.
Yeah, it's like I think it's already gone to like the top 5 at least acquisitions, mergers, we will call it, in history. In the fucking world, okay, that's how big this is. Who would have thought it was from the gaming industry that would have happened, right? Yeah. So we didn't cover when Microsoft acquired who was it?
Bethesda.
I was thinking of the studios. I couldn't think of the publisher. I was gonna say Arcane Studios. Like, no, that's just a developer. We didn't cover that. I don't know why. I guess it just didn't really matter to us. But this fucking matters, at least to one of us.
We had talked about it. I don't know.
We probably mentioned it, but that's about it.
Anyway, yeah.
But I guess it didn't really touch us that much. But this one's big, people. This one's fucking huge. But not for the reasons you think. Not for the reason you guys might think. Okay.
So when we learned about this yesterday, obviously, I was like, "Hey, bro, we gotta talk about this right now. Like, we gotta talk about it and get it out because this is huge, and we want to talk about it. While it's still hot." RJ was like, "Nah, bro. Like, I'm too emotional. Like,
I was too sad.
I can't be talking about this right now."
Well, it didn't help that we were talking about it all day yesterday, back and forth while I was at work, which made me sadder.
Yeah.
Because we're on two entirely different sides of this situation. I'm the one losing, you're the one gaining. So our arguments and sentiments are entirely different. You're not going to relate to my sadness at all. Because why do you need to? You don't need to. And so, yeah. So some of you guys, I hopped in to a couple streams from the Discord people yesterday, and the first thing in my mouth was like, "Do you guys fucking hear the news today?" and those people happen to be Microsoft guys. So they're like, "Oh yeah, heard about it. No big deal." I was like, "Yeah, I bet it's no fucking deal." Just
another purchase, bro.
Yeah, just another day, whatever. It's just. I was like, Microsoft can take over the goddamn world. I was like, the only thing Sony now has to buy, they have to buy Square, or they have to buy oh shit. I had an example in my mind, but Square first came to mind because that just makes sense. They would have to buy Square Enix or just EA. Sony buys EA. It's like that's the only thing they can do.
So I was talking with my friend, right? And he was like, how much do you think Microsoft owns EA? Because EA Access is on Game Pass. So I have access to all that stuff too of Game Pass. And really, what I told him as a joke, but I think it's probably true, maybe a little bit, is Microsoft just went to EA. Is like, hey, you can either let us use your games, or we can just make those our games. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that conversation happened. Like, hey, look, you can either play ball or we can buy you. Like,
I mean, there is that.
up?
Who knows? I mean, EA and Microsoft have always had a really close relationship, very friendly relationship. Activision, they did back in the day, back in the early 360 days. Activision and Microsoft were really chummy, especially with how long Xbox had that
exclusive
the Call of Duty exclusivity DLC and stuff, which that mattered a lot more back in the day.
Then,
when Sony got it kind of didn't really matter because Call of Duty wasn't as hot as it was back in those days.
Well, I mean, I want to say it wasn't hot. It's just they used it differently. Like, you didn't see these
yes,
year-long exclusive DLCs for like maps and shit.
Well, they weren't year. They were like a month. They were a month.
I don't know. There was some that seemed.
It was a month. It was a month. Every DLC, the Xbox guys got it.
I didn't have to worry about it.
Well, me neither did I. But I just remember I just kept track because everyone. I loved. It was fun watching everyone bitch about it on the PlayStation side because I didn't care. But it was a month.
Anyway,
it was a month.
Let's get to feelings and stuff.
No, so okay, so here's why this doesn't matter. So most people are really upset. Most people are mad, sad, crying, whatever, because of Call of Duty. Obviously, duh, right? COD, I mean, no matter how much hate it gets, there was the amount of people who fucking love it is just astronomical, right? It's just stupid, okay? That's why COD is still the #1 downloaded game or bot game every single year, no matter how trash it is, no matter how much people hate on it, no matter how bad the reviews are. It's fucking COD. I don't know what to tell you, right?
Like,
it's the COD machine.
So like I was arguing about something that we'll talk about later with a guy online, and he was like, "Oh, well, Call of Duty is dying. Like, Vanguard didn't sell well, blah blah blah." And then I looked it up. It's like, guess what the #1 selling game of 2021 was? Fucking Call of Duty Vanguard. So, like, yeah, it might not be selling as good as it used to, but it's still the #1 game in the world. So
yeah, it's still, if you want to talk numbers, it will still be #1. Maybe sometimes #2 because FIFA sometimes outdoes it. But it's always top 3 for sure. Top 3 every time, right? And it's not doing as well when you compare it maybe to year-over-year numbers. Because I did read that report. It was reported that Vanguard didn't do well, or at least up to their standards.
Yeah.
But no, make no mistake, it is still #1, absolutely. So most people are sad because of that. Right, because of that, and also it's kind of like, yo, Sony had this exclusivity with DLC. I don't think it expired yet. So it's like, what the fuck's up with that now? So you have that. So that's what most people are upset about. Hey, I get it, right? But the reason why I have been sad is that Activision also owns 3 other IPs, namely Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, and Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Activision has all 3 of those, and now Microsoft has all 3 of those. And so it's just like the strangest. Who would have thought that Crash and Spyro would have been potentially, because we don't know what the plans are, potentially Xbox exclusive properties? 2 of the most iconic PlayStation heroes are now potentially mascot or not mascot, really, but Xbox owned properties. It's crazy.
Like, besides like Sonic and Mario, like Spyro and Crash are like the mascots of gaming, and they were definitely the mascots of Sony.
Yeah, like they weren't officially, but they're the unofficial mascots of Sony, right? And especially in the 90s and even into the early 2000s, especially Crash more so than Spyro. But like, it's just, you couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't mention PlayStation without mentioning Crash or Spyro, right? And now it's like, how the fuck did this happen? Like the craziest 180 turn you've ever seen in your life. And so it's like, it's just like, that's what hurts my heart so much. Like if those 3, mainly Crash and Spyro, I'd be sad for Tony, but like I can move on. But like if those 2 were not in the picture, I wouldn't give half a shit. I wouldn't give half a shit. I mean, I'd still be like, yo, this is huge though. But I would not have been. I was down the whole day. I was sad and upset the whole day at work. Couldn't even work. Like I my whole mood was just fucking ruined. And then David made it worse. He didn't mean to, but he made it worse because we were talking about it, and he's trying to like present all these logical arguments and all these logical things. And I'm like, bro,
I'm trying to make it feel better.
I'm in the feels right now, okay, man? Like, like that's not what I need. I need you to tell me it's gonna be okay. Like, pat me on the back virtually and tell me you're gonna fight. You're gonna live and fight another day. So like that's the main reason why this is such a big deal to me, because some people who know, but like Crash, Spyro, like those old mascots, those old platformers, that's like my lifeblood, man. Like that is what speaks to me the most in gaming. The amount of memories and nostalgia that I have for those titles is just unspeakable. I cannot accurately describe it. And so now to know that it's being potentially taken away is like, man, it's hard. It's a gut punch. It's a gut punch, man. And it's hard to put it to words, but it hurts. And I mean, it's funny because like it's not like I can't play them because I do have an Xbox, but I never. But like my Xbox, I look at that and I'm just like, okay, that's good. That's like my Forza machine. You know what I mean? Like that's the Forza machine. The maybe some Xbox, some OG Xbox games. You know, like SSX3 that you can play. Like that's for stuff that I cannot get on PlayStation. That's what I look at that system as. I don't look, but I don't want to look at it now as like, oh, I have to play it now. If I ever want to play a new Spyro Crash game ever fucking again, like that's not what I want to do. You know, and but for those people who don't even have an Xbox, it's like, yo, what? Like, it's just fucking brutal, man. It's brutal. I don't even know. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it like it's like holy shit. It's like all the positivity that the PS4 was getting, like to kind of redeem Sony and all that stuff, right? Like a lot of that shit didn't matter to me, honestly. A lot of the good tidings that they were doing, like they got that COD exclusive deal. Some games were coming back and that were kind of associated with Sony, but like they were still multi-platform.
Their first party games were killing it.
First party games were killing, but like I didn't care about most of them.
Yeah,
honestly. So it's like, well, I mean, all the good
love
stuff.
Last of Us.
Oh no, I didn't say all of them. I said most of them. Like I mean, like to the sense that like I'm not gonna fucking shoot for the moon. I mean, or anything. Like it didn't touch me specifically, like deep in the heart. Yeah, other than Last of Us, but that was on PS3 initially. So you know, like Horizon, Persona, GT Sport. You know, and I'm sure, and many near Automata, but that's multi-platform. But still, like all those games, it was great that they came out, but like it was like, you know, only Ratchet and Clank and Neo are like probably the exclusives that like fucking like, oh, they got me good. So like all that good stuff was happening, was like, okay, great. And so like, but like it didn't touch me, right? And then it was like in going through the shit that I went through being a PS3 owner, going through that horrific time. Like I went through all that shit, and then I go through the PS4 era, and it's like, okay, good things are happening, but they don't matter to me. And then when the PS5 comes, I just get more shit dumped on me now because I have the potential of losing like two of my favorite franchises, you know, that I've ever loved, you know, on that I can play happily on a PlayStation console. So it's like, yeah, it's like I'm having a meltdown, dude. Like it's a nostalgia meltdown, but in the reverse way. Like I'm having a negative nostalgia meltdown.
Like,
and it's just
I'll never be able to fully understand obviously the emotional part of that side, because like I'm an Xbox guy, but they're big for what they have of first party. I'm not even about, like, Halo's cool. Like I like it. It's fun. It's a good shooter. Hey, Gears of War, also cool, you know, whatever. I'm not simping for any of those games. Like the closest is like Forza, because I think it's been just clearly the better racing game out of Forza and GT, and I enjoy that. But I'm not gonna like get emotional if any of those like went away because I don't play them enough. But one kind of connection is like, I have always gotten a PlayStation mainly for MLB The Show, and like Japanese games and stuff like that, like more anime games. But I can say, having now played MLB The Show on my Xbox after this year, went multi-platform. I can't say like for a while, it was weird playing it on my Xbox. Like the Sony like emblem would come up, which it's not going to be the same with Crash and Spyro, but like, and then like I know like for a long time I was like power swing square, but nope, it's X, and stuff like that. So like things that I was ingrained in my head, even the feel of the controller, which I much prefer the Xbox controller, but I'm used to the feel of batting with the PlayStation controller, and it just was different. So like that is just such a small degree what you're dealing with of like this isn't just a game. And I know I said that to you in my arguments, but I get it. It's not just a game. Like this is where you went to play the game. Like this is a body and soul kind of connection to where it'll never be the same playing Spyro on an Xbox controller. So like
and I thought about heart of it.
I thought about it a little bit more, and I was like, okay, I get it. I get it a little bit more.
That's the heart of it. It's never going to feel the same to play whatever new Crash game comes out with an Xbox controller. For me, it will never feel right. It's never going to feel okay. I'm always going to be like looking at my PlayStation, and just being like looking at the game, looking at my PlayStation, and back and forth, and just like, if only.
Now,
like, why?
Okay. So here's a question for you. Would it be any better if you were able to get like one of those like dongles that allowed you to use the PlayStation 5 controller on the Xbox? Like, would that help at all?
I've actually we used to sell one of those at GameStop, but for the last consoles. And I always told myself, like, if I ever had an Xbox, I would buy the shit out of that because I just would rather prefer the PlayStation controller.
Yeah, I get it.
So, I mean, yeah, that's cool, but I mean, it might alleviate a little bit of the weirdness, but it's not all gone. It's not all gone. It's not going to be all gone.
All right, so like I would love to do more therapy with you and really talk about your feelings, but let's get into like what this means for the business for gaming.
We might have time to go have a round 2 at the end of this for my feelings.
Oh no, yeah, but, we can touch back.
But yeah. So to make no mistake, this is a ridiculously big deal. So there is, I mean, not only do we have the possibility. I mean, the possibility is very real for Crash, Spyro, and Tony and all the others to become straight up exclusives in like next 3 years.
Yeah. Like Microsoft has the capability, like legally speaking.
They definitely can. They have every right to. I mean, as long as this deal falls through. This is all assuming the deal falls, not falls through, but it goes through. Very real possibility because those, I mean, as beloved those IPs are, when you compare them to other IPs, they may not be as big. Anyways, the real big deal is COD, right? Will that be exclusive, right? And some people think it won't. Some people think it might. I'm on the side of might because, I mean, why not? If they could do it, why the fuck not?
Yeah.
Right.
So like my thought process before I get into my big conspiracy theory, my thought process with just that is that you don't spend $70 billion to just not do anything with it. Like, sure, it's gonna make them more money because like now they're the ones making the money plus whatever cut they would have gotten normally through whatever deals they had with Activision about having it on the platform, microtransactions through their ecosystem, whatever. So obviously they're just gonna make more money with the revenues from that. But you don't just do that to like with an IP like Call of Duty. Like you buy Call of Duty and you're going to do something with it, whether that be exclusivity, whether that be some other kind of things like a conspiracy I have. So I think they're gonna do something. Like at the very least, in my mind, at the very least, there will be more exclusivity for certain things, whether that be map rollouts or maybe special NFTs, because NFTs is a big thing, or DLC or whatever. There's gonna be, in my opinion, there can't not be some kind of repercussions as far as some kind of extra exclusivity or some kind of perk for Microsoft buying it. They just wouldn't do it. To fall back on Spyro and Crash, I think, in my opinion, there would be more blowback, negative feedback from the gaming community at large if they made Crash and Spyro specifically, exclusive, then it would be worth in money that they would receive from it, because all of the hardcore Crash fans and Spyro fans are probably also hardcore Sony fans, and I just don't think there's a big enough financial reason for them to make that exclusive. I think that at the very most, they're just going to sit on the profits that they'll make from the game sales and that for those titles. So I don't think you have any concern, in my opinion, for any kind of weird exclusivity to where you'll have to get an Xbox to play Crash 5. I just don't see it happening, in my opinion.
In layman's terms, what he's saying is that he believes Microsoft was saying to lose more than they would gain by releasing whatever might
they would be
come out. There was still there's still no even word if we would ever, if we're going to get anything.
Yeah, because they're already kind of seen in the gaming sphere after the Bethesda acquisition and now this acquisition especially. They're already kind of see like, yo, this is a monopoly. Like these people, like Microsoft's about to buy up everybody. So like, there's already that negative press. To add negative press of like, yeah, like we're this big evil monopolizing corporation, and now you can't play with your favorite toys. Like it's too evil. So like, I just
which is
can't
interesting,
see them doing it,
because Microsoft was kind of being like the good guys, or the nice guys in gaming, with the Game Pass situation and not really caring about sales numbers hardware wise. So he's not publicly caring about hardware sales for a long time and all that too. So they were kind of putting a persona of being kind of the nice guys of gaming. So that would go against it. But on the other hand, you could also argue like they're fucking Microsoft. They don't have to give a shit.
Oh yeah.
What people think.
They want it. But I'm just thinking
but
like a
on the flip
business.
side,
I just don't think they have enough to gain from those IPs.
Yeah, I will argue.
They would have enough to gain.
There's true.
They would be evil, in my opinion, for it. They would be really evil if they made COD just a console exclusive. Like, hey, fuck you. If you want to play COD, buy a fucking Xbox. Like, they would be evil, but financially speaking, I think that it wouldn't be a negative for them. Like, financially and, PR wise. I don't think it would.
Yeah.
But I just don't think I just don't see Crash and Spyro, as amazing games that they are, pulling in enough money to offset the PR for that one.
Absolutely, and I agree. I mean, I'm a realist. I mean, I understand that those IPs, especially now, I mean, this isn't 96 anymore, right? So neither of those games are going to bring in anywhere near what like COD would bring, right? Not even a fraction.
Yeah.
But the reason why he believes like they have less to lose with those IPs rather than COD is like, you look at Sony and Spyro, right? And even to a smaller extent, Tony Hawk. Like you said, the hardcore, like probably the majority. I remember when Crash Trilogy came out, right? We were working at GameStop, and there were more pre-orders on the PlayStation version.
By far.
Not even close. Spyro as well. Not even a contest, right? Like, because there are games that happen. Like when COD does drop, there's always more Xbox pre-orders, right? That's just how it is. So you have like associations, right? So the people, if you kind of broke down the sales from who bought Sony or bought Crash or Spyro, if like an overall majority of those sales were from Sony, and then now all of a sudden you cut that, it's not worth it then, right? To create that exclusivity, because
and then you have
you lost most of the revenue you gained, and then you have the PR nightmare on top of it, because like the people who bought it are the hardcore fans, but if those hardcore fans are on the wrong console, you're kind of fucking yourself over, right? By doing that, so that kind of breaks it down why he believes that. But with COD though, you don't even have to be a COD fan to know, like, for the longest time, when you thought Xbox or when you thought COD, you kind of thought Xbox. They kind of went hand in hand.
Now it's
for a long time.
It's evened out a lot. Last generation, and even more so this generation. So when I was still working for GameStop when Vanguard came out, and at least in this area, PlayStation had a lot more pre-orders, mainly because it's like it has a last generation, it even had a lot more, and this generation, for whatever reason, PlayStation is just, I think, in my opinion, PlayStation has just had that like that social media hype to it, that's kind of driven it in the eyes of the consumer base.
That's true. I mean,
so it's even out a little bit, but you still like. So I was talking to a guy about my theory, and one of the things that is just a fact is he was like, PlayStation has been just murdering Xbox this generation and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, what one?
Does he mean by this? Does he mean PS5?
PS5, Xbox Series X. Yeah. Okay. I was like, well, for one, I don't think you can say that because neither system has been able to sell well because of all the shit that's going on. So like to say murdering, like I don't like. I think you're doing it by perception and not by my numbers, because like it's just you can't say someone's winning a race when the race is like just started.
Yeah. You're only a year in.
Yeah, a year in with decreased sales because of all the shipping and pandemic stuff. And I was and also like, okay, are you telling me that like all these Call of Duty bros that yes bought a PlayStation 5 to play Call of Duty aren't going to like think about switching to Xbox to play Call of Duty, and they're going to stick with their PlayStation 5s? No. Like they like if this decision was done beforehand and PlayStation was Xbox made did exclusivity before these current generations came out, you would see a complete shift. Like people would just be like, yeah, they might not be happy about it, but they would buy a Series X instead of a PlayStation 5 because that's where they can play Call of Duty. Like you have a lot of people who only play Call of Duty, and so they're going to buy the system that Call of Duty's on, which is actually kind of a argument against my theory. But that's why I was talking to him, is that like this is important because Xbox could do that.
Yeah, and I mean...
And so Sony's scared, in my opinion. Like, at least a little bit.
Yeah, because Sony doesn't want to lose COD.
No, they can't.
And there's very few replacements for that. I mean, like, they would have to fucking buy, like, Rockstar and start pumping out and, like, get GTA 6 out, like, tomorrow.
To
like,
survive a possible exclusivity or the threat of exclusivity without making a deal with Microsoft, either in my theory or just making a deal with them to keep it multi-platform, they're going to have a first-person multiplayer COD killer. And I think we've been in the industry long enough and seen enough COD killers come through the gates to know that's never going to happen. Battlefield has been the closest game to being a COD killer, and it's never come close to being a COD killer.
No, it hasn't. Not in sales, at least. Not in sales. No.
Like it would.
Never overtaken.
It would be very fucking interesting if PlayStation somehow bought the rights for Battlefield and made they made that an exclusive for PlayStation, and COD was exclusive.
That's what I was thinking. Like they would have to buy EA.
Yeah,
they would have to just fucking buy EA.
But even if that's so, Microsoft would be like, cool. Like we got a Ferrari. You just bought like, I don't know, a Supra maybe, like a good car, but like
it's cool, but like
we got a Ferrari.
Is
like
it the
what
same?
the fuck are you even talking about? So
can
I go into my theory?
Like,
are we prepared to go into my rabbit hole of a theory?
No, because those are Game Pass is all weird and complicated.
It's not complicated.
It's a conspiracy theory. Those are usually complicated, because that's why they make no sense, because they're overly complicated.
No, it makes
Anyways, I was just gonna
sense.
say to you, the conspiracy theorist.
We'll see.
Anyways, I was gonna say, I mean, if not like a giant acquisition, they would have to like kind of do what Microsoft was doing with like just getting a whole bunch of additional devs, studios, right? Yeah. Because like Sony already has an incredibly impressive first party, or at least third party people making first party titles, kind of how Rare did with Nintendo back in the day. So like Sony already has just an incredulous like amount of like exclusive titles. Only thing, if you can't just buy a huge publisher like Square, Rockstar, or EA, you're gonna have to then just keep like hopefully get more devs to make these more additional exclusive titles, and hope that their cumulative gains
which
can somehow kind of equal Activision,
Yeah, which is
right?
what the like, I've been on the YouTube comments and forums and stuff like that, reading people, and that's one of the major kind of counter arguments of PlayStation owners are making as a, well, this isn't as big of a deal as you think it is, because look at all the greatest exclusive games we have, and you're like, I get it, like, you're upset, you're not thinking clearly, I get it, it's cool, like, but let me ask you this question. Like, what's the one complaint that everybody has always lodged, or like the one caveat? It's like, yeah, it's great. Like, fucking Spider-Man, great. This Wolverine game gonna be coming out. I'm gonna be all over that shit. Last of Us, great. Uncharted, great. Okay, but it doesn't make money after the initial release because it doesn't have these long-lived multiplayer microtransaction burden stuff, which we do not like as gamers, as me and you, or as many other people, but fucking companies love it because it makes ass loads of money. Like, you know, God of War was by far way better of a game, in my opinion, than any Call of Duty has ever been. It is never going to make anywhere near the profit that Call of Duty does. And you just, so like that, like, that's why they were saying like, oh, well, Sony's not worried about this. Like, no, fucking Sony's fucking pissing their pants right now. They're like, holy fuck. Like, okay, so like you're talking about Sony like buying EA, right? Okay, Sony is, all right, so Sony's gaming division, right? Okay, it sells more, and in the past, at least the last generation, has been more profitable than Microsoft's gaming division. Okay, that's true. But Microsoft's gaming division is not playing with just their money. They're playing with Microsoft's money. So it doesn't, like, that's another thing the guy says, like, oh, well, Sony's been way more profitable than Microsoft. It's like, no. Sony as a company has not been more profitable than Microsoft as a company. They do not have more money than Microsoft as a company. Like, Microsoft can just throw $69 billion. Just fucking, yeah, fucking, why not? Fuck it. So, like, Sony doesn't have the money to keep up tit for tat with this shit. Like, they might try, but they're not going to be able to pull down. We're not going to see Sony, you know, next month fucking drop even 50 billion on a company. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, reason why it's like this is such a big deal. Nintendo's worried, and they have no reason to worry. But that's how big this is, right? That's how big this is. Like, Nintendo's worried, and they don't even know why they're worried, because they're like they feel a disturbance in the force, and they don't even know why, because they don't fuck with that, right? But even they felt it. They were like, "Yo, what has happened?" But I was gonna say, like, okay, critically, like, Sony's exclusives fucking wipe the floor with Xbox, and they have for a decade, right? Forever, for fucking ever, right?
Like, since Halo 3,
like after Halo 3 came out, they haven't had like a fucking stellar, like, killer app game. Well, maybe if you're a racing fan, Forza, but like, maybe, other than that, like, if you're not a racing fan, though,
that's niche.
No,
that's
there was no killer app. There hasn't been one since Halo 3, right? I know you guys might say ODST or some whatever shit, but like, or Gears of War Judgment, but like, let's be honest,
like,
people.
For every Xbox exclusive, you can look over at Sony, and they got two Sony exclusives that are better than that Xbox exclusive.
Yeah, absolutely, right. So, I mean, which is like, okay, right, that's so good and well, but like, and even though individually those games will sell like better, right? Like, you'll say like God of War sold like 6 or 8 million, right? And like, Uncharted will sell like 4 or 5 million, right? And that's great as far as the individual game sales. But like, not just the fact that they don't have continuous revenue streams or recurring revenue streams, which is like now kind of what gaming is kind of shifting its model towards.
Where you make your money.
And that's for a whole nother topic. But like, also keep in mind, no matter how good those games are, none of them, it's coming from a Sony guy, none of them are as ubiquitous as Call of Duty.
Yeah.
You can go to any stretch of the world on this planet, and you can find someone that knows Call of Duty, right? But to find someone of the same area that knows Nier Automata, I don't know.
Or even God of War, like,
right? Yeah, well, even God of War, right? But I'm saying like, but Nier Automata, I think so, like at least 2, 3, 4 million as well. Before it went multi-platform, but none of those are going to be ubiquitous, right? Maybe in our country, yeah, maybe in UK, okay, maybe Australia, Japan, maybe, but not everywhere. But Call of Duty, you can go to fucking Turkey, you can go, to Egypt, you can go to fucking Czech Republic, you can go anywhere you want to, and Call of Duty will be known by somebody.
So
and that's the power of it.
This is another way to look at it, right? Like go to your friend, or in my case, I went to my wife, who is not a gamer, doesn't give a shit about gaming. She like
unless it's Scott of Arcadia.
I had to lie to her about how much I play games in the beginning of our relationship to make sure she didn't be like, I don't want that in my life. Like I had to do that. So like that's how much she does not care about games. And I went to her like, hey, Microsoft just bought Activision that owns Call of Duty. And she was just like, oh shit. Like she knew.
Mm-hmm.
Like
she knew.
Anybody that knows that, like, common people in gaming will know.
Non-gamers.
Yeah, will know how big a company buying Call of Duty is.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It's just Call of Duty. Just Call of Duty.
Yeah,
so
just Call of Duty.
That kind of explains, like, kind of counters that dude you're talking to, his argument about Sony, like, PlayStation not being worried. Like, no, they have a right to be worried. They should be worried. We're worried. And anyone who's not saying that they're not worried, like, I mean, you guys, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
you're definitely going.
You're definitely a COD fan, that's for sure. But I was gonna say, kind of going when you talk about COD, right? Like, so at GameStop, it's a common thing. If you worked at any game store, you probably had the same thing. Like, yeah, there are COD bros. We don't call them COD bros. We call them just like COD fans, like the COD gamer.
I call them COD bros.
They're usually also COD/Madden gamer. But
there's a heavy cross section.
Heavy crossover. Usually the same type of fucking guy, and everyone hates them. Anyways, that person is not brand loyal. They are wherever they can get the best experience loyal for those games they play, because they don't play. We're not joking, people. Like, these people really only play COD, Madden, maybe GTA, and that's fucking it. Like, that's it. And there's a huge set of people that's all they are, right? But even though COD could have been associated with a certain console for a certain amount of time, like, I will always associate COD with Xbox. But like, regardless of that, those people are not brand loyal. So when they realize, like, for those diehard COD fans, there's way more COD diehard fans than there are Crash or Spyro diehard fans. I will admit that. When they start, if COD goes exclusive, or like there's just so much exclusive shit over there that, like, it kind of is a detriment to play on PlayStation's console, they're gonna go where is the best experience. Or if a lot of their friends start jumping ship over there, they're gonna follow, because COD is also a very social game for a lot of people too. So, that's what's going to happen, and it will be inevitable, because they're not brand loyal. Like Sony, like, and that's the difference between, like, when we talk about Spyro and Crash, right? Those are brand loyal people. Like, those diehard fans, they are brand loyal to PlayStation, and they're most likely not just a Spyro or Crash gamer. Like, that's not going to happen. Those games don't have enough to them to play over and over again. So, like,
I only buy one game every 5 or 8 years.
Yeah,
and it's Crash and Spyro games.
Or in Spyro's case, it's like every 15 years. But yeah. So, like, they're usually more well-rounded gamers. So they're not. They have other games to play, so they have all the other exclusives or other games to play on PlayStation. So, like, it's like not a big deal if they don't have those per se, but they will play that on Sony, right? So that's your dichotomy, why it's so different, and why it's such a bigger deal that Microsoft may end up with Call of Duty exclusively in the next few years. That's kind of why, like, that's why. Okay,
yeah, so like,
don't let anyone tell you it's not a big deal.
No, it's a big
because it is.
So, like, here's and this is all right. So I know what I'm about to say is not a
sensical.
No. I'm not getting into my stuff yet. I want to push.
Not even there yet.
Not even there yet.
Oh my gosh.
So, like,
oh my gosh.
What I'm thinking about, what the future of what's the, like, let's say worst case scenario for Sony, right? This is my worst case scenario for Sony. Worst case scenario for Sony is Microsoft does go, fuck you, exclusivity, Xbox, buy a fucking Xbox, right? They fucking lock this shit down. They're like, Elder Scrolls, no, fuck you guys. Call of Duty, fuck you guys. Overwatch, nada. even crash. Let's say they do Crash and Spyro. They go full fucking.
Bro, I was starting to feel better.
Diabolical, like they go full. Like this is the worst case scenario, right? Sony, in worst case scenario, Sony goes the way of Sega, right? Sega was huge. Sega had Sonic, and they had a lot of good exclusives. They kind of were going toe for toe with Nintendo for exclusives and stuff like that. And yes, Sega made a lot of stupid mistakes that also led to their financial downfall. And ended up going from a system maker to just a publisher.
Barely.
But worst case scenario, Sony could go that way too. They could go to just. I mean, they make a lot of really good games, and they might have to transition that. Like that's my worst case scenario.
But I that's a really worst. That's like an alternate universe scenario.
It is.
Like,
it is.
I don't.
But like I would say like a more like realistic is that they just lose pieces of the pie of the gaming world, and they just slowly become more of like niche, and hey, you're gonna get a PlayStation 4 games like Crash and Spyro, or maybe they take back MLB The Show, so you have to get it for MLB The Show, and and other Japanese games and stuff like that.
And that would only make you sad if it took MLB The Show.
So like, all right, now we'll get into my conspiracy theory. Okay.
Bro, what if they got Madden though? Like just Madden, not EA, but Madden, just Madden. They just took Madden. They're like,
I mean that would be not on the
same level of Call of Duty. That'd be weird,
but it would be up there.
That'd be weird though, because like all the COD gamers who are usually intertwined with Madden, they'd be so confused.
Yeah, it would be.
What do I do? What do I do?
It would be weird. All right, so here's my theory, and I'm gonna set it up.
Oh gosh,
I'm gonna set my argument up so it makes a little bit more sense for everybody. Okay, so. Like we were saying, Call of Duty is a massive deal. If it were to go exclusive, this would be like gaming industry ground shaking fucking, like it would change the landscape of gaming as we know it. It like really would. So like it would be a huge deal. It would affect a whole bunch of gamers' decisions, the industry. It would be crazy. It might spawn different games that Sony might try, stuff like that. Like it would be a pain in the ass for gamers and for Sony. Okay? We don't want that. Nobody wants that. In my opinion, Xbox guys, we don't want that. Because like it just would be this thing that would shake up the industry in a way that like I don't think is good, and we don't know where it would go. So I don't want that. I want Sony players to be able to play on Call of Duty on the Sony.
You shouldn't speak for all Xbox gamers on this.
I'm just saying for me.
Well, you said earlier though, us Xbox guys don't want that. Like,
I'm making an argument that us Xbox guys don't want it.
Most of them don't give a fuck. That's if it's my argument of Sony.
Anyway, so there's that. Also, there has been a growing feeling in the industry that systems are going to be a thing of the past. Eventually speaking, either through streaming, which I know streaming is not good now, but technology advances at such a rate that it's going to happen, or more of like a PC model or something like that. Like Microsoft themselves said that they don't see consoles as the future. Microsoft also in the past has said that we don't care where you play. We don't care if you play on... Now, what they were talking about at the time was we don't care if you play on the Xbox One, the Xbox Series of systems, on the PC, on some... They had some games on Stadia back when Stadia was maybe going to be a thing, and then it didn't turn out to be anything. Even when they bought Minecraft, and they kept it multi-platform when everybody was freaking out about that, they said, hey, we don't care. If you have an Xbox One, keep the Xbox One if that's what you want. Like, we want you to just play our games. And at that point, they were just introducing Game Pass, and they're like, hey, and now we have this Game Pass system that works across all of our platforms that you can play anywhere you go. So that's the setup to my argument. This is my argument. My argument is this, that obviously Call of Duty, everybody knows and believes that Call of Duty is going to go to Game Pass. That's a given, Okay, they put a lot of money behind Game Pass. Game Pass has been getting better and better with the amount of games that they have with EA Access, with Bethesda, now with Activision. We're going to get a shit ton of games, right? They want this to grow. I believe that Microsoft wants to be the Netflix of gaming. That when you think about like a gaming service that provides you video games to play, that the first thing you think about is Xbox Game Pass. Like, there's a shit ton of streaming services now, a crap ton. But when you think streaming services, you think Netflix. Like almost everyone has Netflix. It's almost ubiquitous at this point. It's on every Roku, Fire Stick, like smart TV. Like, you might not be like, I'm not able to get fucking like Crunchyroll on my Samsung TV because they don't apparently have a deal with the app. But like, you can't be on a thing that allows streaming and not get the Netflix app. I believe that that's what Microsoft wants. I think that they will eventually have all of these things, and they'll go to Sony and say, hey, look, you have one of two options. We can make this exclusive and you don't touch this shit. Or you buy a licensing agreement through us to have, maybe they'll drop the Xbox and they'll call it something else, because that would be honestly a little bit weird for you to boot up Xbox Game Pass on your PlayStation. So maybe they rebrand it and it's just Game Pass or whatever. But they're like, hey, you buy the licensing agreement to Game Pass. We'll allow you to put it on your system. We'll give you a cut of all of the subscription fees of subscriptions on Sony platforms. And you have access to Call of Duty, so you don't lose all of these, all of your install base that would leave if it was only on our system. They'll keep there, so you'll still get them, buying Madden, or maybe they buy God of War, Spider-Man, because they have your system. You're not going to lose that. And you'll still have access to that. Not only that, you're going to have access to Elder Scrolls. You're going to have access to Wolfenstein, all these other games. And it builds their subscription base for Game Pass. That's where they're going to make money in the future. Because they can sell systems, but as me and RJ and a lot of other people know, how much profit does Microsoft or Sony make on each system? Almost nothing.
No one knows for sure, but
no one knows for sure, but almost nothing. So they don't, like, people were like, oh, they're doing this so they can sell more Xboxes. No, I don't think so. They're not going to make that much profit. And one, they can't even fucking make systems right now. Like, obviously it's going to go back to status quo eventually, but they can't get systems out right now. So I don't think that they're, at least right now, they're planning for this to move any more systems. And eventually, like I was saying, eventually systems aren't going to matter. They're not going to be making systems anymore. And if you think, okay, if they're not going to be making systems anymore, what does that leave us? It leaves us with these subscription-based platforms, and they have to be on something. Sony has always been more about, like, a more promoter of their systems. So I think that Microsoft doesn't care where you play. Like they've said in the past, you're gonna, if you want to play on PlayStation, fine, pay us the $15 a month and play on PlayStation. We don't care. We would rather have that extra subscription than you not be subscribed to us. And then eventually, when systems go away, they already have that install base, and it just continues. It gets to the point where, let's say you want to play Call of Duty. Call of Duty is the only game you play. Okay. And you can subscribe to Game Pass for, a year for, I think just for Game Pass, it's something like around $70. So it's like, it's the same thing anyway. Or if you just want to play Elder Scrolls for 2 months, when Elder Scrolls comes out, you subscribe for 2 months. It's $30. It's even cheaper. And you're still playing on your PlayStation. So that's my idea, is I think that we will eventually see a Microsoft Game Pass-esque thing. I think they will drop the name Xbox Game Pass because the branding would be weird. and you will be able to play Call of Duty through the Game Pass on PlayStation. That's my conspiracy.
Let's first keep in mind, yeah, this is a theory. This is just David's theory, what he thinks might or may happen. It is fueled by his never-ending ready to go. No, you're never-ending ceasing of the fact that consoles will be just obsolete eventually. You've been tooting this since like 2014.
I have,
so he's ready to go. He's ready to chuck the hardware.
I don't want it either. Like I don't want that to happen because like.
Oh, you sure? Because you don't sound too mad when you talk about it.
No, because it's inevitable to me. To me, it's inevitable. I don't want it because one, internet has not kept up with the times. Like I'm out here and you've frozen a couple different times. You're frozen right now. No, not you came back because my internet is shit. Particularly at night for some reason. I don't fucking know. So like
everyone else is using it.
I don't want it. So hopefully internet also catches up a little bit and we're able to get fiber fucking everywhere or something like that. But
yeah, like you may end up, if you stay where you are in Texas, you may end up suffering from something like this.
I mean, it's not going to happen. It's going to be like 5 years at the very least.
5 longer than that, man.
5 to 8 years. Like it's gonna, like obviously this generation is going to be.
How about once you find out? How about when your internet works, we can actually have a proper fucking live stream without you breaking up? Or how do you know this? When our share play doesn't break 20 times in an episode, that's when we'll know.
To be fair, when we did like Borderlands, I was fine. It was all good. Like,
well, because we stopped share playing, we just connected online.
Yeah.
But when we do share plays, breaks in like 20 seconds. So, once that works out just fine.
Honestly, I think it's the upload that fucks me.
Either way, I mean,
you need upload. You need upload for streaming.
You're uploading constantly with your streams. That's why your computer's working so hard because it's uploading. So, until that happens, I mean, if you can't even get it right in our own, in like probably the biggest consumer of this gaming industry, we can't even get it right here. Got bro, in the UK, Australia, Japan, Korea, like parts of Africa and Europe, like no, there's no hope for them. There's no hope for them.
But I mean, and not to get on a completely different argument, but if you look at the Xbox Series X, what is that other than just a box
Mini
to
fridge?
do streaming? No, this is the Series S. Like,
Series
what is
S.
that other than a streaming / downloading box? Like, and they're all about their cloud services. They're all about their cloud, like power of the cloud to do actual processing. So like a lot of people don't know this, but some of the processing power of both the Xbox Series X and the Series S, if enabled, is done through the cloud. Like some of the smaller stuff, and that'll just keep on increasing.
Interesting. I was going to say, I mean, the only issue I have, if it hadn't come to light very recently about a potential PlayStation answer to Game Pass, I would be like, I would be more of like, this actually is reality.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking like, I mean, only thing I can think of, like, let's say Sony does whatever they're doing, they launch it this year, right? But they still come to some kind of agreement, some kind of licensing agreement, regardless. So where you could still get it. It won't be on the Game Pass. It'll be on Sony's thing. But it's like still a licensing agreement regardless, and maybe like still it goes. Microsoft still gets the credit or something. I don't know how.
So like here's my thought on this. One, let's just assume that Sony makes it work, which I kind of have.
Makes what work?
Makes their streaming their Game Pass work.
Okay, so they launched their own Game Pass service.
They launched their own Game Pass and it works and it does well. Okay.
All right. One,
I don't think it matters to Microsoft. Like in my imaginal world where this is what Microsoft is thinking, I don't think they care, right? I do think that they're like, hey, can we work out a little bit of a deal, to get yours on ours too? Because that would help you too. Because again, you increase your subscriber base. That's what they want. Putting on the Xbox would increase their subscriber base by a good amount. I think that there could be a deal to be done. Now, again, it could be that Sony, because Sony is really protective over its first party titles. It's what has pushed them along. So they might say, okay, yeah, but on your guys' platform, we're not going to have, God of War. We'll give you Spider-Man since that's less that's more ubiquitous. But no God of War, no, other, Last of Us, stuff like that. They could make a deal like that. I don't think that Microsoft would lose sleep over them saying no. I think Microsoft would still make a deal with Sony. I think that it would be less of a deal. Like, I think Sony could get a better deal if they shared their Gaming Pass. So that's what I think. I don't think it'll matter. Because again, Sony's Gaming Pass could be fucking amazing. Like, I would pay for it to play the new God of War, the old God of War, Last of Us, that series, all that stuff. I would definitely pay for it. But it still doesn't have Call of Duty. Like, regardless of the argument that Sony makes, all Microsoft has to do is, we have Call of Duty. Do you want Call of Duty? Yes or no? It's a yes. Like, don't even answer. Like, that was not a, that was what's it called when it's like a
rhetorical question?
Yeah, thank you. Like, that's a rhetorical question. Like, you don't need to answer it. Yes, you want Call of Duty. Here's how you're going to get it.
Yeah, I mean, and it could, whatever deal, it could come in all types of ways. Maybe it's just specifically, there's like another tier, and like, hey, cat presents. Anyways, like another tier, and like it's just like the Call of Duty tier. Like, if you want COD, you can pay a little bit more. Like, it could, who knows how it would present itself. Or Sony enters back and they're like, yo, GTA 6 Sony Game Pass exclusive. Because, like, okay, the only other game that consistently gets in the top, other than Activision and FIFA, is GTA.
Yeah,
that's it. It's always topping charts. It has, I think they've hit the 100 million benchmark in sales. Right, that would probably be the strongest, answer back. But even that would be like, who knows if they even do that, right? We're talking theories, right? We're just talking shit. Yeah. But anyway, the point is that we needed to talk about this. This is a fucking huge deal. Here's how big this fucking deal is. All right, it's so fucking just okay. We haven't even talked about Blizzard.
Yeah,
we haven't even talked about Blizzard. We haven't talked about World of Warcraft, Overwatch, Diablo. And there is a new Diablo coming. It is in the works.
StarCraft.
Diablo Immortal is coming. StarCraft 2, still ridiculously large player base.
Overwatch.
Like, I said Overwatch, yeah. But you haven't even talked about and we wouldn't have much to talk about, but there is Candy Crush. I mean, I know most of us people, we like to say like we hate mobile gaming.
Don't overlook Candy Crush. Candy Crush is fucking huge.
Do not dismiss Candy Crush and any of the other mobile games that under Activision's wing. Do not, like, we like to pretend like mobile gaming isn't a thing. Like, we like to pretend it isn't as big as we think it is. No, it is fucking ridiculous. Like, the casual gaming market is bigger than our gaming, whatever market we're called. Like, I don't think just because of console you're a hardcore gamer, but like casual gaming on your mobile tablet, whatever, is bigger. It is bigger. It is bigger. All right. It's the boyfriend you don't want to meet. All right. That's why you pretend he's not there. Okay. It is bigger.
It's okay. It's so big that I would not be surprised if on paper what Microsoft's CEOs and stuff like that is excited about and shareholders are excited about is Candy Crush.
Oh, like, it's the mobile games. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like up there with Hands Call down. Of Duty, if not more. Like, they're like, that's what they're excited about.
Yeah. That you want to talk about continuous revenue streams? Yeah. Candy Crush or any mobile game, like whatever popular mobile, like that is where it's at. So we didn't even talk about that. Like, that's how big this deal is, people. Like, don't, like, any of you Sony people who are out there, like, don't fucking think, don't pretend that this is not a big deal. Like, don't pretend like Sony isn't fucking like, what have we done? Like, do not think that for a second.
Another thing that the guy that I was arguing with about my theory also said, he was like, oh,
who is this guy? Who is this dude?
He was a guy. He was just a dude.
You guys, how long did you talk for?
Dude, like, okay, so my friend had posted just the screenshot, like just the from, the repost or whatever of the news. And I was like, hey, here's my, prediction. I think that Game Pass will be on a Sony platform within 5 years. And the guy just comes in hot. He's like, you think that Sony, who hates Microsoft, is going to play ball? after this, they're gonna come back swinging, and I'm just like, what?
Like, wait, so he's just some rando who commented on your post?
He's just some rando that was on that's a friend of the friend of my Facebook friend.
Okay.
He just came out swinging, and I was like, look, like, yeah, sure, there might be bad blood, between Microsoft and Sony. One, it's mainly for show. Like,
well, the bad blood is really of the people, not the companies.
Yeah. Like, we project ourselves as a guy who, you know, I guess I would call myself a Microsoft guy, but there are Microsoft bros and, you know, and Sony bros. We project ourselves onto these companies, so we like, yeah, we have a rivalry. And Microsoft and Sony, they see that and be like, we can make money off that.
Yeah, they just fed the flames.
Like, that's what they think. They don't actually hate each other. They're just like, we can make money off that. And so, like, guess what Sony hates more than Microsoft? Lost revenue. They don't give a shit about Microsoft. They literally looked at this and was like, motherfuckers, we just lost potentially millions and millions of dollars in revenue. And now we have to think of a way to get that back.
Actually, it might be in the billions now, because I think, didn't a Call of Duty game make like $1 billion?
Yeah, but like, you know, that's not the share that Sony got of that.
That's true. I guess if you cut it, yeah, you're right. But it's like one game though can bring $1 billion. You know what I'm saying? Like that's nothing to sneeze at.
I guarantee you that the top earning, like, I can't guarantee you. I would guess that the top earning thing in Sony's store is Call of Duty coins.
Oh, the coins. Oh, the acquisition tax. Okay. Yeah.
Like I like that in FIFA.
If not, or the shark cards from GTA.
Yeah.
Or the
like
the
FUT. It's up there.
Ultimate Team
so like
stuff.
That's one of their top earning, you know, transactions on the platform. I guarantee you. So yeah, no, they're like I just said. Yeah, they're scared. You know, scared. Whatever. Like that's hyperbole. They are worried. They have taken notice. They did not just go, oh, well, at least we still have God of War.
Yeah, like this is an immediate threat. This is an immediate threat. We should be treating it as such. Because who knows? I mean, it shakes the game. It shakes everything. I mean, Nintendo's fucking like just watching from the sidelines. But, but you know, they're like, we have the Switch.
Nintendo's like, we never relied on third-party stuff. We tried.
Yeah, you don't really care. Yeah, they always end up sucking on our consoles anyway. So you know.
Like honestly, I think Nintendo would be better off. Like this is a joke, but they'd be better off without third-party games. Like if they ban third-party games from their system, they're like, nope, can't make a game for us.
I swear, Call of Duty. I think the last duty on the Switch was Ghosts. I think.
No, there's been no Call of Duty on the Switch.
No, I'm thinking in general. I'm talking in general. It's like Wii U. I think I think Modern Warfare 3 or Ghost was the last one on a Nintendo console. Period. Yep. And I don't remember ever seeing a Battlefield game on a.
Nope.
Oh, I think Bad Company 2 was on the Wii.
Maybe.
No, that might be it. That might be it.
Maybe.
But then some games go to the console, and I'm like, can this run? Like they just got Assassin's Creed, the Ezio collection, on the Switch that just came out. And they'll get like some other strange ass games, and I'm like, I always get worried. I'm like, is this gonna run okay?
There was no Battlefield on the Wii at all.
Oh my! Did they ever get a Battlefield game then?
Nope.
Jeez, yeah. So like, there you go. I remember the Wii got Modern Warfare, World at War, and it sucked. And then they got like Modern Warfare, one of those, and I remember reading that like it was not good because I think you had to use the gun or something like that.
Yeah, they used like one.
Like the fucking Wii gun, and it didn't work or something. It just or like when we got it was staying in the drawer forever because like who the fuck is buying Call of Duty on the Wii? So Nintendo is probably they're watching this. They're feeling it, because
it's a ripple in the gaming universe. Like
it is a ripple, and they're gonna feel it. But as far as what Nintendo may or might not do. It's a tsunami for Sony, but I think it's going to be like a little ripple for Nintendo. Because Nintendo's always marched to their own beat, which has worked for them. It works for them.
Yeah, but they're not. And another thing is too for Nintendo people, like I'm happy for you. You don't get affected by this, other than maybe there's some Activision games you might not get anymore on it. But like you're not pulling the numbers that Sony was. Like you guys are great. You guys, I love your games, everything like that. But you're not pulling the same. Like you didn't have the same numbers in the game as Sony did.
What? I don't know what the Switch's numbers are. I have to look that up because they're pretty good. I think they also the Xbox One. Even though it came halfway through the generation, I think they still also the Xbox One.
I'm just talking like money because like they're not throwing, they're not, because they're not getting into these microtransaction heavy games. They're not pulling down
they have a different business model.
They do, yeah.
Altogether, and Sony has a different business model to Microsoft too. So It's like it kind of makes me start thinking. I know you're talking about Game Pass on their console and all this and that. I'm thinking like as viable as that is, I also have to keep in mind Sony and Microsoft's just for now what we've seen in the public eye, like their models have been kind of different. Microsoft is kind of focused more on the services. Sony has been kind of just pumping the hardware so they could sell the software because they have so much first party development, and so. It's like like Sony's kind of being more traditionalist, kind of catering to people like me, like in people my generation and stuff, or people who just like to kind of have the physical aspect of things. Where Microsoft is kind of seeing the future, right? And with like the services and the technology and all this and that and everything, they're kind of looking way ahead. And so when I think about that, it kind of makes me all confused all over again of like, what will Sony do? Because you have to keep that in mind, right? We might think whatever we think may not be what they're thinking because like they have a different business model to what Microsoft has. Like they may not answer tit for tat. Who the fuck knows? And maybe they might change and they buy Rockstar for like $65 billion. And then now GTA is now a PlayStation exclusive like it once was. Way back in the day. I think the first GTAs were PlayStation exclusive. I think PS1 exclusives.
There was nothing else really.
But regardless though, like because that's like the only, unless they worked out something with EA where like they don't own EA, but like older sports titles are now a PlayStation exclusive.
So real quick,
like that would I think those are the only two things that could even come close to this deal.
So just for a kind of funny thing. So you said, I know you just were throwing this number out there, and you had you're just throwing numbers out there. But if they bought like Rockstar for $65 billion, right? That would be more than half of their company value of Sony. As a company,
Sony's valued at only $30 billion.
No, that would
wait. Hold
on, more than half of their total company value, $65 billion, because they're worth $110 billion.
Who, Rockstar or Sony?
Sony.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is,
$30 billion.
They would spend. There was that if they did that for $65 billion, they would spend more than half of their company worth.
Of their market value on one acquisition. Yeah. But then again, you think about that and you're like, oh shit, that's crazy. But then you think about GTA 5 and the fact that it's like brought in $1 billion. I think more than $1 billion.
So like, and again, to put in perspective, like the money that they're playing with. So Sony worth $110 billion. Microsoft.
Keep in mind, they did just lose like 20% of the market value today.
Yes.
Because of what happened.
Yes.
So if we checked it yesterday, it probably would have been a little bit higher.
Yes. Microsoft, $303 billion.
All right. The 20% doesn't matter. The 20% doesn't matter.
They are nearly 300 times as valuable. Or three times as valuable. My bad. Sorry.
I was going to say,
300% is what I was thinking, and I said times. Three times 300% as value.
So you said 303?
303.33 billion.
Okay. I'll say I'm going to put it to about 150 because they did lose 20% of their value. And I imagine they're probably normally around 130 to 150. So that comes about 1.5. But it doesn't matter because that's still stupid more. So yeah, so it's like, because I mean, Microsoft isn't just gaming. I mean, Sony isn't either, but like,
what does Sony have? Sony has TVs. I think they have a microwave.
They're electronics. They're like
Blu-ray players.
They're electronics. But obviously Microsoft is computers, man, and software
and services and stuff
and other services and shit. And they've been in the game for way longer. Like they were famous before they made the Xbox. You know what I mean? Like it's like even if Xbox were to fail tomorrow, Microsoft would still be an incredibly profitable company. Even if Xbox just shut down tomorrow. Like that's what I'm talking about. If PlayStation shut down tomorrow, Sony's bankrupt.
Yeah,
they're bankrupt.
They're done.
Immediately. So, yeah. So yes. Oh man, yeah. So it's a rough time. We will have to let this die down and start seeing what's going to happen. No one knows. No one knows. So honestly, if I were you guys, I would just stop making predictions. I would stop having thoughts. And just, especially if you're a PlayStation person, just stop. Just don't. You're gonna stress yourself out. Just don't think a damn thing about this. Just let it happen. Be sad, accept the sadness, and move on until the next piece of substantial news comes through. Because like all the media articles on the gaming news are going to be about like, will this happen? Will that happen? What's the future for this IP or the future for that franchise? Will this now be an Xbox exclusive? Blah, 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 blah. They don't fucking know. They don't fucking know. No one knows right now. I mean, there's inside information sometimes, but like at this stage, no, there's no way. And we still have to hear from the SEC, I think, or the FTC, one of those two. They haven't even looked at this, so we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how the final deal will even look like because they may change things. Because this is getting, I don't know. I mean, it's unfortunate because our regulators don't really care about gaming that much, so they might not care if there was a monopoly. They're like, whatever, fuck, we don't gaming. We're like 80. Who gives a shit? But like, it is getting, and that is a valid claim to start thinking like, yo, Microsoft just bought two ridiculously large publishers, and so it was like, is fair competition still around? Will it still be able to persist? And that's a valid question. So they're going to be looking at that next few months, actually several months, I'd imagine. I think it's at Microsoft. No, Activision shareholders haven't given a final agree on this yet.
But they're going to. They're making way too much money.
Probably. But they haven't agreed on it yet. Or was it? Yes. They're shareholders because the board of directors they agreed, but the shareholders haven't yet on the Activision side. They haven't even given okay yet on it yet. So things could change. The deal might change. Maybe they can't take everything. Maybe maybe there has to be some limits to some of the IPs. Who knows, right? Who knows how it will actually look like at the end of the day. So don't. Because like I see a whole bunch of articles and this and that, I'm just like, there's no fucking point. Nobody.
Yeah, there's already like who did I watch? The European ones that I watch all the time.
Eurogamer?
No, it's with Jules.
Oh, What Culture?
What Culture basically said that this is it for Sony.
I mean, maybe.
And again, I don't think so. I don't think so. One, because of my theory, that's in my head, that's how they stay alive.
And also, it's like, what does that mean? Like, it is it, right? It's like, who knows, right? And again, you must keep in mind, like, the deal's not final, so it's like we don't know. Like I said, no one knows how it's really going to look. After we get some more facts in, then we may or may not be. I may or may not have to start really sweating, So, but honestly, at the end of the day, just let me play Spyro and Crash on PlayStation. That's it. If I have that, I don't care what happens. Like, I would rather have Spyro and Crash on my PlayStation. If I had that, I don't care if it was Monopoly or not. I don't care if Sony bought Nintendo the next day. As long as you let me play any new Spyro and Crash game on my PlayStation, I don't care what happens. I don't give a fuck what happens. I mean, it's not a risk, but like Ratchet 2, but they're not a risk anymore because they're now a first party developer. But like, if that wasn't the case, like if you took Ratchet, don't you take Ratchet
was Activision not too long ago, right?
No. They were actually independent.
Oh, okay.
They were independent for the longest time. But anyways, if you took those, don't take those three from me. Don't fuck with those IPs. All right, people, don't fuck with those with me. I'm not playing around. Like, if you took those from me, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I will never be not sad ever again. So, yeah. Anyways, we're gonna wrap this up. This went longer than I wanted it to. But yeah, so yeah, just keep for all the Sony people out there, just try to keep what's about you. Don't read too many news. You're just gonna stress yourself out more. And for all the Xbox guys, I guess you guys have been waiting 8 months to laugh at us, so laugh it up while you can.
Comment down below what you guys think of the situation. Are you hurting like RJ is? Are you a Xbox bro and you're just laughing your way to the bank? What do you think about my conspiracy theory? I want to hear.
Yeah, because if any comments on that, I will direct to David to answer.
Yeah,
I'm not jumping into that. I am not getting into that at all.
I love to talk it out. Like if you have something like David, this doesn't make sense. Like how would they deal with this? Fucking, I just came up with this thing on a whim, like out of the blue. So like it's not that. It's not everything. But I think it makes sense. So if you agree with me or if you don't disagree with me, comment down below. And just man, it's fucking time, bro.
It's time to be sad. That's what it's time for.
It's a fucking time.
Anyways, guys, thanks for wrapping this episode here. Thanks for sticking with us. I know this was a one topic podcast, but I mean, as you can see, there's so much to unpack. This is ridiculously big. So, anyways, guys, take care. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
See you.